came out around 98.
Right.
99 around. So it's a long time. And most of the guys from his era also who were there still rap the same way up till now. And that's why they're irrelevant. You know, and people don't want to hear, but it's the truth. And that's why G-Rongi said what he said. At the same time, G-Rongi has his music. Right? But even he acknowledges he's trying to change his style, his sound. People haven't heard the music coming out, but you'll hear it. Other guys that I know, like, and this is from the Fulani era. These are guys like Kambawili, Labala, Gano. They're also changing their sound. People will hear the music and they'll realize that they're trying to move forward. Because most of them, they may not say it out loud, but inwardly they're like, we need to do something different. Because we know times are changing.
Like I know a lot of people did know that Kama over Kalamashaka, he actually the party track sometime back with
I remember that track.
I'm looking for it. I'm actually looking for it because I really like it. It was so dope. But he actually the party track. It took him away. Like, when I listened to it, I was just like, that was around 2008 or 2009. No. Okay, well, somewhere there. So he dropped a party track, and it was such a far away rendition of what he's ever done in his career. And I like it.
And I think that's good. And also on the production side, I feel that one of the most versatile producers that has been in Kenya for the past that people rarely talk about at all. They really mention him. Is Shaki. Who was part of Mandijidijic. Because Shaki was not just a producer, not just a mixer. He was also a vocalist.
He could go from opera to boom bap to kapuka.
Remember him and Kala were in a crew together. Jawabu, you know. And he's still around now. He's coming back, he's doing his thing, you know. And I feel like even when Kama did his thing that was different, people didn't expect it. And that's the thing that I think these artists do. They need to keep putting people on their toes. They don't know what's coming. Because when I know what's coming, like someone asked me on our show here, it's real. Someone asked me, what do I feel about Saudi Soul? I've been asked that question quite a lot of times. And they said the problem that I have with Saudi, as much as they've done well, the problem that I have with them is their music always sounds the same. I always know who's gonna start on the song and who's gonna end.
Right.
I always know that. So I feel like it's like kunde every single day. You don't move from there. And the thing is not just them. There's a lot of people in the industry who are like them. And that's why people always ask me. People outside of Kenyans, they always ask me, why isn't the Kenyan music going? It's not like Kenyans not putting out music. Kenya put loads of music. If you go online, you'll find a lot of music out there. But it's not growing because what we're trying to follow trends, or we're trying to be the cool kids. That's what we're trying to mean in the soft sector. And that's a big problem. We're never gonna. And Kenya was not always like that. We were not always Kenya as a nation. We're not always like that. We actually one time we were actually come to us here in Kenya to produce because we were so far ahead. They wanted to catch up. But now
they still come to us though.
They come to us for different things. Yeah. But musically it's like really not that we can't move forward. You know. It's just that we're not looking at ourselves. And improving. And it brings a point when Sakid was talking about this with him and Pinye. And he decided to unleash a lot of truths about the Kenyan music industry that people had forgotten about.
Right.
He started to unleash people like, yeah, I remember that.
Right.
This and this happened. This happened. And that's the time. That particular time of the beat and other shows. That's the time Kenyan music was also really growing. You know. And so we have to ask ourselves what is causing our downfall right now. Why are we not growing? You know.
Right. Well, I'd love to hear guys' thoughts on this. 547-888-0030. Where are we heading as a nation in regards to music? Of course, also let us know your thoughts on the Vault sci-fi called Bomberclats.
Yeah, that's G-Rongi. That's all him.
Yeah. I was outvoted on that name. To go BTS behind the scenes.
I understand where that name came from, but I'll keep it to myself.
I was outvoted, but at least, you know, when you go to Google, you're able to see the difference between the spelling and the names. There's Bombo Class and there's Bombo Class. So I was Bombo Class. Okay. So it is now streaming on our YouTube channel. That's at Icon Radio K. You can definitely check it out. Run up those numbers, send in your comments, share, like, and let's continue showing love for the 254. Hashtag play KE music. Of course, we're asking you again, what do you think is the way forward for Kenyan music? Again, let us know. +254 788 38 0030. Back into the music we go. When we come back, we'll be looking at something that also is affecting Kenyan music, and that is the finance bill that is about to be announced. There's a lot of conversation and debate around it. No, there's no debate. There's just a lot of one-way thoughts on it, and we would like to just decipher it right here on the Vault because it affects all of us in every way. Keep it right here.
Oya wazee yapeleka chuki kando ni yela G-Rongi na Jimmy kwa mitambo.
Beatmekah, G-Rongi, Queen Bogi, Elisha Lai, kama kawa the Vault Cypher. Sinajua tena. G-Rongi, Elisha Lai, ko flani maumau dandara. Phase 1 hadi mwisho mtere maili gitare reri kama kawa nime pull up grandioso family loyalty mafioso so blank sing hadi ziko also what a sham hawajui how namu wamebecome what a damn what a guan sarcastic sio wisdom kiwa jakoya tunadai freedom yangu freedom ilikam na kingdom mini vichwa tough gong kosi bila bong cloud 9 chichen chong king gong deport kingdom wanajipin pon ni left ni right ding dong isolation king jong ni manjoroge ding dong gonga kifua king gong tune in to sing song luku anko ching jong rusha pin tuanze shika ching ching do all over ka tintin wakidai wata get fitting ding pap jana ni mandim cocktail zangu molotov boy hata Rose Mhando anajua kuwa hando ka bundle of joy wali understand sai wana meet na undertaker my family ni movers and shakers can't move us can't break us easy ka breakfast mpishi huyo chef ni dev si ishi ubishi me myself ni ref ndio ni ghetto nililearn to let go shamba tangible fashion artificial jaba laughable passion heart official our marapa terrible bado relevant zoom I'm the elephant in the room. Mambo cosmos, car dozi ya cosmos. Acha nikusabai na furahi uko uhai maheta wanangoja bye bye na usipo bye watadai uhai ndio wakuambie bye bye.
Yeah, you know what time is it?
Bye.
Walionidharau skuzi wananiita na heshima. After kucheki mziki na nipea sima. Kuna karau nilimkanga akagenya azima. After kujaribu kujenga na mijina materi wanogo na shimoli dojina wananita kwanza cheki rekodi kwa kila lesson na wafunza matodhi tuminjo mode kwa darasa skiza my home machozi menyanya na dikadanga na masati pamoja bado ndio namba ni position mimi napatikana leda maule kinara kwa siasa hadi manwashani kubali mpaka wananiabudu kanisani na kwa mabati mana wana batima ni mabale matocha na kadhalika. Hip hop size nimegeuka mekanika venye natengeneza ona saipali tumefika. Yeah,
kuna mamena waliomba tufambo na size wanatutumia kama example. Oya wazee yapeleka chuki kando ni yela G-Rongi na Jimmy kwa mitambo.
Awo wote ni mabombo klati. Awo wote ni mabombo klati. Awo wote ni mabombo bombo klati. Beatmekah, G-Rongi, Queen Bogi, Elisha Lai, kama kawa the Vault Cypher, Icon Radio, dandara ndani ya building. Tunajua tena D-Face 1 hadi mwisho ama ni mtere. Big up kila msanii, big up kila producer. Kama kawa ningewataja lakini hamkunipea majina zenu, lakini kama kawa tunazidi Dandara uko fulani Mau the Vol Cypher.
Dandara kauko fulani lazima tushukuru God kwa pale ametufikisha mzee on fire. Ndio maana tunamshukuru na roho yetu yote. God tusamehe. Mungu Baba utufunike na mabawa, protection tukijaza snare kick na bar. Ndani ya commandments kuna reward na customer za mwili. Tuano devil anatumia mtoke mbali na God. Kila mtu wanakana devil na matendo yako inakuuza. Unapenda God la si hivyo.
Dora banning uko fulani fanya kweli. Ushasikianga hii, ushasikianga di, ushafikianga mi. Naweza badilisha industry, fanikisha maisha hii. Venye na dunda na beat, unajipunga na mi. Ukijiunga na di, waka unga na ni.
Unajua tena, kwa fulani mau Dandora banning fanya kweli.
Yes. Tumetoka Dandara, place maswala ni chafu kutoka Dandara. Tuna plans za ma project kwa ma youths wenye plans za kudandalas uko flani mau. Tumetoka Dandara, place maswala ni chafu kutoka Dandara. Tuna plans za ma project kwa ma champs wenye plans za kudandalas uko flani mau.
Jeshi la wokovu, maaskofu, sijui tutaita mandingi mwananzeki. Nisiwe na hofu, manzeju jana niliona ndovu. Wengi mkukio moto ilikuwa ready for combat. Moments za Kodak, picha za investigation za Kodak. Hapo ndio utapata kuona vile wali sign deal na devil. History ni Kylie ya K na Ebo Roundikini kwenye vina table.
Wakichukulia kindness for weakness, lazima table zitanishwe. Mashetani watu nao tu wapigwe. Uone sisi on CCTV kwa mtaa penye dhiki maskini kukoseshwa faraja. Sikiza hizi future plans baraza yenye wametuweka nao nia yao kutushaka kidrill sitazama. Sincerely sita change identity, kiakili thibitisha kiskill mini soldier.
Kweli nani, noma nani. Ita mamako, leta babako, lete ndugu zako, dadako pia, Dandora vamia, jeshi ingia. Hii shit yote ni fucked up. Mau for the next government shit. Fala tu, ini take over kali shinda ya 1982.
Nafungua vizibao basuda jatimu nachanganya na asali kwenye track ninatapika sumo. Mzee wa kazi jikoni napika makeke. Mshiro tarabu tikisha sikizeni madebe. Karibuni tucheze na pwani kuna washa mwenge. Gentleman tunazikata singenge. Ingia na mtulize mfurahia mtunzi weka mfai washa pamoja tuselebuke. Sasa sikizani hip hop mfurahi tukatoke ngoma mpaka che.
Pamoja Sounds Alliance Andaki Project Studios na kufreeze car breeze notika chika notika mapanktela na kaptena na stopi nyingi shinda makapela wa mastopi tela wajela. Hapa nilipo sipo, hapo sipo ndipo nilipo. Malipo hip hop kwa high table ya tempo na taban kakepo na kupanga mapepo. Riswa unatokomea peponi.
Yes, in case you didn't know, recognize the name.
Right.
This is the Beatmekah, not the beat taker. 10 fingers in the air, if you can count. And if you don't know, you better ask your mama. Or ask a kinyi with a good hair. If you don't have a kinyi, look for a pio. Yeah, that's how we represent.
Yeah, I think all of us are on edge with this whole finance bill. We don't know what our futures will look like. Seeing what's happening right now kind of reminds me of an episode of Homeland. I don't know if you ever watched Homeland.
Can't remember watching it.
Homeland. It was It was about this FBI agent, CID, whatever. She was something, CIA or something. And she was both bipolar and she was one of the best in the game. Now, in the final season, she was trying to protect this woman president. And she was trying to protect her against these people who she thought were wrong. Only for it to turn out that these people actually had the right idea, that this woman who was coming in was actually the worst. And she was going to lead the country down the wrong path. Now, I'm not saying that this is what is reminiscent or it's, art imitating life. I'm just saying that a lot of things were promised, especially in regards to the economy.
Yeah, there's a lot of promises that were made.
So it was especially promised to the mamambogas. And I'm trying to put myself there with the rest of the mamambogas because I'm just like...
They're still waiting for the youth are still waiting for wheelbarrows.
As in like... Me even I'm not even waiting for wheelbarrows. I'm waiting for my canoe with Sakaja. I still have a bone to pick with him on that one. But as in... It's just... Watching the news every day has become extra depressing. Reading the news, because literally everything is getting taxed. Every single thing. Students are soon going to have to choose between making a living or going to university and getting their papers, because help has been cut down. The financial aid has been seriously cut, and there are still proposals to cut it even further. Foodstuffs are being taxed left, right, and center. These new meters is just to control our expenditure on I'm sure it's control our expenditure on electricity, and just to make sure that it's being capped to a certain amount, then they charge us again and levy again and tax again. Like, remember we talked about this Indian anchor who heavily criticized President Ruto for the trip he made to the States and said that he's the one president who has made sure that everything that moved is being taxed. And sure enough, that is what is happening.
Yeah, there's nothing positive about anything that they're doing, and still behind the thing is we're just going back to the old Kenya.
Right.
We're going back to the old way of doing things, where it's like there's only certain people who benefit. The common man can't even survive right now.
Yeah.
You can't.
No.
And they don't seem to care about that. They don't care at all. They feel like, oh yeah, but yeah, we need to make sure we take care of this country, but they're not taking care of the country.
It's kind of like during the Trump administration, only the select few were winning in certain situations. It's hard to see that every day the president is leaving. When he comes back with money, but the money is in form of loans. We have to pay back those loans. And you wake up in the morning, you look at the headlines, 8 government officials, they have allocated money to their family members and ghost workers. Suji Kenjen, they can account for 5.4 billion that was given to them by Germany, which was debt. As in, it's depressing because every time money is not accounted for, we are getting into more trouble, whereas we are being taxed to get out of that trouble.
But
I even feel like I'm about to do the whole show in quotation marks.
But what I foresee is it's already beginning to happen right now. A lot of Kenyans are trying to leave Kenya. They're trying to leave Kenya, so there'll be no one here. Kenya
iuzwe.
And then on top of it, you see the medical side, the doctors, what they've been, they were sorry for the longest time, And then some of them are nurses and trying to get out of Kenya. They've been offered jobs abroad, and they're being denied by our government to fly out and work on those jobs. You know? So they're like, you're denying us, but you're not providing for us. It's very hard to live in this country. You know?
I worry for creatives. We are slowly heading back into, thank God for YouTube, thank God for DSPs, because now it's you and your hard work that determines how much you get in terms of revenue, right? There was good news yesterday, at least with Camp awarding BN 1.2 million of royalties, and we're hoping that it will be reflected for a lot more artists.
Now that's one artist.
That is one. That's what I'm saying. It's one.
And the problem with these organizations, what they do is they award one. They say, Sunona, what we have done.
Exactly.
Sunona. Like, but there are 1,000,001 artists.
Exactly. Showboating for one. But what about the rest? But it is a sign of hope that probably we're heading in the right direction for artists to gain money.
How much is that 1.2 being taxed?
Sasa hiyo tutachia KRA. Maybe I don't even talk about KRA. KRA, we are not talking to you today.
You know how they come after.
KRA, we are not talking about you. Please leave us alone.
It's like you make money and then you're like, oh yeah, I made this, but then the tax.
That thing, I think it's not. I think the head of production here at Icon Radio was telling the interns, I hope you guys, you have to put in your tax returns. You're 18, even if you're living at your mother's house, you're still a citizen of the country, you have your ID, you need to put in your tax returns.
And that's why I'm saying there's going to be a big offload of people leaving this country. Because at the end of the day, Kenyans love Kenya, but they don't love the system that it's become.
100%, but you do realize, like, it's not a Kenya problem. It's a worldwide problem.
It's a worldwide problem, but how Kenyans say, they say, hey, at least they live on the at least philosophy.
At least, yes.
They live on the at least philosophy. And the thing is, you're like, at least I'd rather make a bit less, but I'm out and at least it's consistent. That's how they look at things.
You know how things are bad? When the opposition is quiet.
The opposition has been quiet like forever.
Like they're just tired. They have nothing to talk about anymore.
Yeah, the opposition has been quiet. Like Kenya doesn't have an opposition.
Even if I was opposition, I'd join just the party that is currently reigning, just so that I can get money in my pocket.
Forget about the opposition. Just have a position.
Just have a position.
Just have a position. Because there's no opposition. Like there was a time the opposition was very strong, and then something comes out, they'd have a voice. Right now, their voice is like meager.
But the funny thing is, they said, you will cry for it. Now you're telling us to go back to our homes. Now you cry for it. Now Kenyans are like, Turudi kwa streets. But we have no time because we have to fend for our families, we have to fend for our homes, we have to fend for ourselves. It's become crazy. But what does it spell for the Kenyan creative industry? We were seeing at least some sort of hope, some sort of rise in artists, and they were starting to earn. We're even seeing them now flossing, even if it wasn't, they were flossing with things that weren't theirs, they were flossing somehow, giving some sort of hope. One of the most stressed countries financially in Africa is Nigeria. They have no hope. They're even telling Prince William when he was going there, telling Prince Harry, don't come. It's even dangerous to be here. You just stay in your country. What are you coming to do here? Like it's a stressful time for a lot of people. But then there is a bit of hope there for the creatives. What does this finance bill, what does the taxing spell for the creatives in our country? That's the question.
You see, the problem with the creative industry, it has its pros and its cons. The pros about creative is, like it says, creative.
Right.
You can be creative. The cons about it is it's a self-employed market. That's how it operates. And so you don't know what's going to happen today, what's going to happen tomorrow.
Right.
One day may be good, and then it's not good for a long time,
right.
Then it's good again. And I feel that's the hardest thing, because recently they came and were targeting certain people who have their shows on YouTube. Remember Obina and all those guys?
They tried it.
Yeah, they said that you have to get a license.
Yeah.
And then there was such a big outcry that they removed that thing. They said they pulled back.
Rightfully so.
So it means that if people didn't come hard at them, they would have been like dictators. They would
Right.
have been forced, like, you have to do it this way.
Mm.
And I feel like the process, at least countries like Kenya, where people come out and speak
Right.
and say, hey, you know, we're not feeling this and we're not going to go down. Places like Rwanda and Uganda, it's a whole different story. You can't even try that stunt there, you know?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, and so I feel this whole thing of the taxation on creatives is going to hurt them, like massively, by the way. A lot of guys are just going to give up.
Right.
Eventually on that sector. They're going to be like, you know, let's look for something else. Let me even go work in a warehouse, you know? Let me figure out something else. Because the funny thing is when the government talks, they always talk about the youth.
Yep.
They talk about how they want to support the youth.
Because those are good to the ballot.
Yeah, about the youth are the creatives. They always talk about how they're gonna support them. But you see, that's just all talk. Because from the time they came into power, this new government, there's very little they've done to support the creatives at all.
So then the question remains, right? How do we then help ourselves? Because there are tools now, again. There are the DSPs. More and more Kenyans now are putting out concerts, organizing for themselves. They're not waiting for their label. Or how do we help ourselves and stop relying on a government that's seemingly failing us?
I think right now a lot of people have gone the independent way. You know, they're not relying on the government at all. You know, for example, there's a youth fund, but the youth fund has done almost nothing for youth.
We forgot about the youth fund.
It's done almost nothing for the youth. It should be called the no fund.
Yeah.
You know, because it does nothing at all. By the way. Yeah, so it's like even places like Kanu, when we were young, they had kind of youth affairs. They had these things they're doing, but none of that has helped the young people, and so they're turning to the TikTok. They're turning to Spotify. Even if Spotify doesn't pay what it's meant to pay, they're like, you know, if I become a creative, at least I can survive on that. In fact, in the last 5 years, the big terminology, most people that I know, they said from today, I'm an influencer. Everyone became an influencer. It's like the way everyone, a lot of guys I knew became Uber drivers. You know, that's how that is. So people are becoming self-employed, and they're like, we're not going to rely on the government because the government's doing nothing. We're not going to rely on these corporate companies because the corporate companies are doing nothing. So we're gonna put out our own content, and that's how we're gonna make money back. You know, we're gonna work with these other organizations out there that want to use us for marketing. But you see now what's happening, the Kenya government is jumping in and they're beginning to monitor. And they'll be like, oh, so that's what you guys are doing. Now we're going to jump in and take some of that money you're making. You know, before they were never bothered. And then they felt like we're losing out on this.
Right.
There was a time even if you're trying to sell your clothes online, they're like, they have to take a percentage of that. Before they never used to bother. You can sell your boxers, socks, and they never used to bother.
Right.
Now they're jumping in there, and I think it's a problem. But a lot of people are gonna turn their own way and just be like, let's just do it on our own. Let's rely on those other DSPs that are out there, and that's how we're gonna make our money.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I will always say there is a very big problem when you go to the ballot. Yeah. Weigh out the consequences of what you choose. Let it not be led by your tribe. Let it not be led by your sex. Let it be led by critical thinking of who you want to lead you.
But I don't think that's gonna work.
But for me, Kenya iuzwe nipate share yangu.
I don't think that's gonna work because a lot of guys who voted for the last government, they voted for the current president right now, President Ruto, and I asked them why they voted. They said, and quote this word when I say this is what they said. They said they voted for Ruto because he looks young and he looks good. They never talked about his plan for Kenya. And that's the thing about us. So what we do is we're deceived by how our appearance is. Yeah? You know, like how in the Bible they talk about the Antichrist. I'm not calling him the Antichrist. But I'm saying, they talk about the Antichrist, how he's going to come and deceive. He'll look like Christ, but he's not, you know? And the thing is, with a lot of these so-called people in government, they give an appearance of what they'll do for you. But the real truth is, you see what really happens. For example, just recently, we've been having these floods, right? And they've been serious. So these guys, what they do is they look at it as an up moment to come and take pictures, you know, so they can look good in the media. That's what they do. So they bring their small unga, they bring their small goods here, and they'll be like, see what we've done for you, and this is what usually goes on. So even the time of elections, the same thing that goes on. They come and do something small, and they say, now you see, and this is a Kenyan mentality, now you see what I've done for you, now vote for me.
Out of the finance bill, what do you think is a better outcome out of everything you've heard so far, especially for the lives of creatives? What do you think would be a better outcome? Because they want to tax digital content. They want to, I can't remember what was the other thing. There was something else. There was a circular that was being circulated last week. I don't know if you saw it. Where they were talking about the collective, MCSK, Prisk, all of them were giving their directives how the finance bill should go. What do you think is a better outcome in your mind's eye for this finance bill in regards to creatives?
In terms of what?
In terms of fine, tax, but to what extent? You understand? Because people are indeed making money.
Yeah, I feel they can tax, but the numbers they're putting out is too high. It's not there's nothing positive about it, you know? And in the end, people are just gonna be like finding their own way to how to handle things and not pay that tax.
Right.
You know?
Right.
They'll just be like, it's not the first time it's happened. Even abroad, people have done that where they're being they basically avoid tax for years. You know? Even when you look at artists, look at the reason why Lauryn Hill was put in prison.
Right.
You know, Fat Joe made money, and he was he hadn't paid their KRA there. You know, and he was put in. You know,
right.
And so it's like, and he's like, you know what? Fat Joe's like, you know, I'm not at fault. Actually, there's a guy who was handling my taxes, and I paid him. But they're like, there's no record of that.
Right.
And so people do this all the time. But I feel like they can tax, but it shouldn't be at the margins they put. I feel the margins are too high.
It's quite high.
You cannot because the thing is they're not concerned about these people surviving in life.
Right.
They're concerned about themselves. And whenever that happens, you know, like at the end of the day, the community that they're trying to say that they want to support, the creatives, the youth that are coming up, are always gonna suffer. And then that suffering turns to resentment, and we know what happens when youth resent.
Right.
We know what happens. You know, there's going to be some more somewhere.
Well, big shout outs to everybody who is tuned in. Thank you so much for your thoughts and comments. We have Vumi Ringo on YouTube. He says, good one. Big shout out to you. And says, Myra, I'm with you. Mtu apewe share yake ajipe. To be very honest, me, listen, okay, I'd rather go sell my share of Kenya, whatever share I have, niende niishi Migingo. Migingo is an island on its own. It's not being governed by anybody. Let me go and live there and just live my peaceful fisherman life, because nothing is making sense. I am working myself to the bone. I do not sleep. I wake up, work, sleep, work. I don't have time with my kids. I don't have time to even think about going back to the booth if I wanted to make music. I don't have time for myself. We need peace. All I ask for is peace.
I'm wondering whether Miguna is wondering right now whether they should go back to Canada. Maybe he thought like they did a good thing to put me in Canada, and he came back. Now he's thinking like maybe I should just go back.
You know, he's one person who had a very emancipated mind from mental slavery, as Bob Marley would put it. But the moment he wrote on Twitter that he should be put in the same room as Uhuru and fight him so that he's able to stop talking, he stops talking about being remunerated, I was just like, who am I? This guy is going.
I feel this government doesn't understand what the things about you. They want to make them what they want to make them.
Right.
I remember when they did this thing of the Hustler Fund. They had this big thing they were doing of the Hustler Fund. Yeah?
Hating the Hustler Fund. First of
Yeah.
all, the Hustler Fund. Let's talk about this. Have you guys been getting messages on your Hustler Fund? Jalipa, hiya. They're coming after you.
Yeah.
Like,
every month it goes up.
No. They're like, dear customer. They're like, dear customer, you have defaulted on your loan for the last 1 year.
Of the 500 shillings they gave you.
Yes. Pay back to avoid fines. Clearly, they want their money back. But Ruto promised he will not put you in CRB. At least. You're not going to be in CRB.
That is talk.
But they want their money back.
I always say, talk is cheap. That's why everyone can afford it.
Right.
Have you ever met someone who cannot afford to talk? No. So, like, when they did the Hustler Fund, they did this whole thing. All these people came together and everything.
Right.
Who was there at the Hustler Fund talking among the youth? Bogi Genje. Yeah? Yeah, Bogi was there. Kwanza, Smarty Things was speaking on behalf of the group. Eh?
Oh, yeah.
He was speaking on behalf of the group.
Yes.
And then he spoke in his language,
right,
of how he knows how to talk. Yeah?
Right.
You know, Smarty's like, hey, Mambo Zaski, Mambo Riyad. Yeah? That's how he begins then he's like, I remember that, I think the MC was Chipukizi. And I remember he's like, ukikambele yatu, you should talk in a way that everyone understands. You know? But you see, the thing is them who didn't understand.
Right.
The youth who they said they're trying to approach understood what he was saying. Yeah, it made sense to them.
Right.
You know, because I remember, and I always say this, there's a time when we were in a session and Bogi were here at Icon, they recorded. And they put out like one of the first ciphers. They're the ones who put it out.
Right.
But I remember the next crew that came was Jesse Jinga.
The fans called it Zaski.
Yeah, and then Jesse Jinga came.
Right.
They came and they're there. And then I played for them that cipher. And then they're just sitting there quiet, not talking at all. Then they said, Hapo ameongea ukweli. You don't know what he said, but then they understand what he said. And so I feel like these so-called leaders, they've got to come down and understand what the youth need and what they want. The problem is they're trying to take them to what they want them to be and how they want the system to be. And that's where the problem is.
Right.
There can never be growth there. You know? Because at the end of the day, if you're always trying to change people to what you want them to be, say, hey, if you want to make money in this new government, then you have to do it on our terms. There's always going to be an issue.
Listen, would you turn the camera towards me? Wash Association of Kenya, I'm ready to join. Let's do this. Send me the forms. I'm good to go.
Is that Wash or Omo?
Me, whatever you are, whatever you're using, Omo, you're using Wash Association of Kenya. We are one. I got you. Send me those forms. I'm ready to join. I'm good to go. I can't live like this anymore.
Remember that gospel song you say, we are one in the spirit.
We are one in the... Wash, we are one. We are one. Guys, please send in your comments for those who have tuned in already and commented. We appreciate you, Sana. Of course, we'd love to hear your thoughts on this new finance bill, especially if you are creative. What would be the best outcome for you this year with the 2024 finance bill? Because the way things are looking, not looking too good for anyone.
But I agree with you, Myra. Even me, let me just put the camera to me. Like, let me tell you something. There's a song that used to go, Nanda Ocha, and Ocha. That's me now. Me Nanda Ocha. But you see now we move Ocha, they'll make the tax so because everyone's moving to Ocha.
I tell you, me and the island Team Migingo, we're good. We're good to go. We're good to go. Yeah. Again, let us know +254 788 380030. We are laughing now, but it's nothing to laugh about. Things if they're gonna go the way it's being predicted to go, it's gotta be fat sausage for us. All right. Let's go back into the music. When we come back, we'll do a few tributes to some soldiers that we lost right after this. Be the right one. Hey, manzi.
He also said, "Uko tayari?"
Kotayari.
That's like a version of G-Rongi. G-Rongi, you know, when he enters a cipher, he always goes,
I'll listen. If there is one person who is the king of outros and intros, it is one G-Rongi Matigari. That thing he does.
Manjaroge.
Wait. We are not saying his government names
No,
over
he
here.
said it on the cipher.
Did he?
He said Manjaroge.
Okay, good.
Someone who said it.
The day I met him in person, I was just like, "Hi, Yako, these are your government names." Hey. So yes, G-Rongi is the king of intros and outros. Na kaja sema jina yako ni juu, hujamwambia.
There's some people out there who had beef with G-Rongi. Then the cipher came out.
They are quiet.
They went mute. Mute.
Heaven. As in, y'all, if you ever listened to the Vault cipher with the name that I lost to, Bomboclats.
We brought up but a lot of ciphers. People don't realize, but those ciphers are not easy to create. We've done a lot of them now. And we'll be launching season 1 of them out so people can hear all of them.
All of them,
We've had guys like Kimia here, we've had Mula, we've had so many dope MCs that have been on those ciphers.
Right.
And they're coming out, you know, one by one.
One by one, yes. We're going to do a full-on mixtape. Big shout-out to you, Nish. Big shout-out to you for chilling here with us. Anasema to Rudy Ocha. I'm with you.
Rudy Ocha.
Hey. But like I told him, I have one last try. Washers Association of Kenya. Please hit me up. That's my last ditch effort. If that one fails, I am done. Okay, I am completely done. Now, away from that, we of course have to give tribute to those we lost. Last week, we lost the one and only Fire Mama Jambi. Man, it was a sad moment for Kenya. I realized the impact that she's made on Kenya. Was I was shopping in the streets of Nairobi. This is our Nairobi. And the vendor, I was buying some stuff for my kids. And while I was trying to pay, she was like, lakini unajua, ile kitu meniuma ni vile Jambi amebas. And you could see, like, she was even like, her voice was you could see like there was a knot in her voice because of how much she was emotional. And she's like, she just looked at me and my dress, and that's what made her just break down.
Reminded me the other day a story about Jambi. She said that she's been sick for quite some time.
Very long time.
And at the time she was even in America, like for almost a year.
Yeah, over.
And she reached out to Kenyans, Jangat like 10M. You know, she came back, she was at least a bit better, and then fell sick again. So there's the one thing is there's been a lot of people of late, young guys, not old guys, young guys who have been leaving this earth.
Yeah.
It's been a high number.
Right.
People. One of the people that also lost, and give a shout out, one lost his mother the other day, is our boy played Yambusi.
Oh man, yeah.
Even the real OG.
Yeah.
Of the game, he's put a lot of guys on.
Yeah.
A lot of guys. This is the guy who was the director for
Mizizi.
famous Mizizi at KBC. If it's not for him, a lot of artists wouldn't be known.
Right.
You know, both here and those worked in Tanzania. A lot of artists, he put them on. You know, he was one of the first guys. People don't realize we talk about this one, but he's the first guy to endorse Diamond Platinums when he was not known.
Exactly. Not only Diamond Platinums, Red Sun, was a Chameleon. Yeah. He's the first guy to put them on. Yeah.
So it's like I feel a lot of pain that you lost mom, because you know the first person that in your life that you see is actually your mom.
Right.
You know, and you know, just shout out. There's a lot of people that have been passing over the last couple of weeks, and we've got to ask ourselves, what is going on? What is going on in this world? Right? There's something that's not right.
Right.
You know, when we see too many, especially young youth at the age of 25, 26, 27, leaving this earth, there's something that's not happening.
Exactly.
You know,
it's quite difficult to see talented, extremely talented people who have paved the way for themselves, made a great example, to leave us. And you know what I loved about, and I keep saying it, what I loved about Jambi, she lived unapologetically. she lived life according to her own terms. I didn't even know like she was expelled from school like 5 times because of just how much of a rebel she was. And she came out, she did radio. When she wasn't feeling it, she left. She goes into emceeing. When she didn't feel it, she go back to radio. She was in the creative space heavily. She put out so many artists. She was a fast manager for Sauti Sol as well. And it's kind of like, again, when living life on her own terms, she decided what she was going to do. And she even vied for Dagoretti, although she didn't, MCS of Dagoretti, although she didn't go through, she still was able to go through that experience. And sometimes I wish I could be that person. I wish I could be that person who would be like, you know what, damn the risks, damn the repercussions. I just want to do what I want to do. And I think this is one of the lessons I've taken from the life that she lived. Just do what makes you happy. Do what is right for you.
Sometimes you have to go for gold, or we say go for broke.
Mm.
You just got to put yourself out there.
Right.
The problem with a lot of people is they're always concerned about what someone else is thinking.
Right. We don't have time for that.
And what they're going to feel about them. And so a lot of times you waste a lot of time trying to make other people happy.
Right.
Instead of looking and seeing, what can I do that is better?
Right.
What can I do that stands out? And in Kenya, we have a lot of creatives.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of guys who are doing a lot of good stuff. Some of them you hear about them, some of them you don't.
Right.
At all. You just hear, that someone did so and so, did this and this, And there's a lot of stories that are also coming up about creatives that are negative. Like I was reading this story the other day. About Esther Chebet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where they're saying that she was dealing with some mental issues.
Right.
And there's a so-called lady, a friend of hers who she was reaching out to, who literally recorded like or took these messages and put them online.
Oh no.
And so I'm wondering why, if you're her friend, why would you do that?
Anyway.
And there's an issue that her mother had passed away or something, and she was down, there's things that she was going through. And there's a story that some guys for Illuminati were trying to recruit her. There was all this stuff that was going on.
Right.
Now, I remember meeting Esther back in the day. She's always been a vibrant lady because she was also in Housewives of Kangware. She's always been vibrant. I just kind of feel like sometimes when we see people going through something, don't go out of your way to bring their downfall.
100%.
Don't go out of your way to make your name known through someone that you know. I feel that's just rubbish. That's just whack behavior.
It is. And Kenyans are tired of one day you're criticizing somebody, like people heavily criticize Jambi and thought like, she was making up the story, for you to come again the next day and be like, oh, she was a great person.
You're praising her.
Yeah, stand by what you said before, we'd respect you better. But if you truly, truly did respect her, then give her flowers.
And this happens a lot. Like, there's this rapper in America, Rhapsody. Right, she's one of the top female rappers,
Right.
And when she was coming out, and she was like, men used to literally say, like, don't rap. You're not even good looking. Till she was nominated twice for Grammys. Then these same men are like, oh, she's so beautiful. She's so sexy. Same people. Then they saw people like Kendrick Lamar behind her. Dre was there. Big names out there. Then all of a sudden, she's a beautiful perfume, a beautiful aroma, But before, and we face the same problem because there's people who were talking when Jambi was alive. There are people who were talking smack about her. But then now she's no longer around and people are praising everything that she did. Then they jump on the bandwagon and they want to praise her also.
Well, we choose to praise her, celebrate her.
Let her be celebrated in life and in death.
And in every way, she left a mark that can, in a space that she can. It's very hard to replace. She was, again, an icon within her own right. Now, another person who was being mourned by the music community was a renowned pianist by the name of Shadrach Macau. A few notable personalities were mourning him. including one Macadam as well.
He played Macadam's band.
Yes, in the Identity Jazz Experience. He also played for a number of other notable artists. He played a lot of the festivals as well, a lot of the concerts. And he was a notable keyboard player. And this is what Macadam had to say. Nyatiti Jazz Experience has been hit hard by the sudden demise of Shadrach Macau, just as we rehearsed for several upcoming corporate events this month. Shadi was not only our keyboard player, he played a crucial role in the direction of my music. He was a brother, having toured with him earlier in my year. Yesterday was the first time we entered the studio knowing he isn't there physically with us. Really sad. Really, really sad.
Yeah. Well, I know Macadam personally. I can say Macadam is always true to his word about what he feels about people. And I know this one affected him.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I mean. We're losing out on a lot of people.
Right.
And how they're leaving the earth is unexplainable.
Right.
You know, and so we gotta. I feel that in this life that we live, we've got to lift each other up. You know, we've got to surround each other as brothers and sisters. We've got to be there for each other. We need to stop all this bickery, all this small childishness, you know, that's going on. That we need to uplift even the new youth, the new ones who are coming up in the arts, you know, and not just in the arts but in business. You know, we gotta embrace them. You know,
Right.
and Kenyans, we have this problem of sometimes belittling our own. You know, we are like, you endi mahali, haezi fika. Like we have that negativity until someone does something, just like the story of Rhapsody. Then you want to praise them. You know, and
Give people their flowers.
yes, give them their flowers. Even if they have a bit of weeds, help them grow the flowers.
100%.
And help them remove the weeds so they can grow the flowers.
100%.
But don't this thing of crucifying. Nah, that time is over. Yeah.
So as we end the show, we've got to give it up to guys who have dropped music. Again, Run Up the Vault Cypher Bombaclats on Icon Radio KE platforms, especially on YouTube. Run up those numbers. Of course, like and share your comments in the comment section, especially if you're feeling it. If you're not, also, you know, at the end of the day, we know at least you've listened to it. If you want to throw in some hate.
Oh, ni mabombo clap.
So Run Up Bombaclats. Also, Kitusua Mkaliman. Also run that up. Full album. I don't think he has released a full album.
It's like 9
ever
tracks.
Of my shifter.
I just asked myself, why didn't he do 10? Like, why stop at
Even
9?
Even out the
like,
numbers.
it doesn't feel like it's kind of a full album to me, but he should have done the even number, not the odd number.
Right, well, it's still a treat. It's an amazing treat.
Did you see the picture of the cover? He has this Godfather.
I love it.
He has this Godfather look, you know?
I
where
love
he
it
has
because-
kind of like he's trying to go for the cigar thing.
I love it because that is exactly the status that he has. He has this Godfather presence. Whenever you mention Kitusua in a room, or whenever you're with him in a room, everybody's like bowing down, like, oh my God, that's Kitusua, man, that's Kitusua.
Yunisua kwa hapo.
So that Godfather status is rightfully his, and for him to put out this project long after Mashifta, long, because he's been doing singles and singles and singles. For him to put out a full-on project is no mean feat, man. Big up to you. It's big up to you.
Yeah.
Although there are projects he's dropped, I'm gonna look for it. There's one he sent me some time back. I'll look for it. I just can't remember.
There's
what it
a
was.
Swahili project thing they did.
Yes,
Yeah.
so I might be wrong on that. Maybe it's not the only one. I'll look for it. I will definitely put it out on our socials. We do have of course, our top 40 list. I think that will be captured there on Saturday with Lil Bosco. So just look out for that. Yes, so Run Up KE Music. If there's any project that I might have forgotten, is there a project I've forgotten? In Metolua of late. Zico. Okay, listen to them on top 40. I know I've come across a few. I just can't remember quite well. But
don't just listen to them. Like these guys, they spend money on these projects. Go and buy the project. That's how we support our artists. Don't just be like, like there was this story the other day as we wind up. Someone reminded me the other day. So David Chappelle was in Nairobi doing his comedy hour. Though, to be honest, I've never understood David Chappelle's jokes. They're a bit dark. They're a bit too dark for me. Like, they pass me like the hurricane when I hear them. Like, I don't even understand some of them. But there are some... I heard Bien try to reach out for a free ticket. Alizimwa, huh? Like,
he drives a whole Porsche and can't pay 70 for a ticket.
Yeah, it's like, hey, can you give me a freebie?
But it's alleged. It's alleged.
But that's how the music in Kenya is. Like, when someone tells you buy my album, you're like, why can't you give it to me for free?
No.
Time's gonna change, man.
Do you remember the days we used to save money for a good pair of sneaks?
Yeah.
Or save money to buy the Source magazine?
Yeah.
We should be able to save money to buy for an artist.
And then when it was crazy that time you save, and then you enter a matatu, and then the thugs are there. Tuabiatu.
Yeah, you have to
they rob you. They rob you those Nikes that you bought. And there was the time. And they used to rob people with hats and shoes.
Exactly.
They say like Tuabiatu sai.
You understood the value of it because you worked hard to be able to buy.
But nowadays, if someone robs your Nikes, you're like, I'll go buy others tomorrow in town. What's the big deal?
Anyway, because we can't afford the real ones. Anyway, so, in other words, you understand the value of what you have because you've bought it, you purchase it. And that's the only way we'll appreciate the value of our artists. Exactly. Buying the music. Because even me outside when Elisha Ella was here, and I was like, tell guys where we can purchase your music. He's like, no, it's for free on Spotify. I'm like, what? Guys don't buy music anymore? It shouldn't be the case.
But I must admit, there's some artists that are doing well with having them. For example, Mark Adam has a show that was coming up like, what enters like 4K.
Good.
And guys are paying.
Good.
Guys are paying because they see the relevance of going for his show.
Exactly.
So the live there's guys who are doing shows and people are actually paying to come and watch. And I feel that's a step forward because there's a time in Kenya, people also didn't want to pay for live shows.
Exactly. So we're heading in the right direction, but it's time for us to support our Kenyan artists. That's the only way we'll be able to run up their numbers anywhere. That's the only way that they'll be able to stand on the world map. Big shout out to you, Anne. Thank you so much for tuning in. As Anne says, enjoying the show. And today's conversation is lit. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much, Anne. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Anne, yeah, I'm checking you out.
When are you checking out?
Let me check her out.
We want to know. Anyway,
it's because of my dimples.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So guys, we'll come to the end of the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Of course, you can check into the conversation always on the Icon Radio K YouTube channel, where this is going to be published in just a few. Also on our WhatsApp number +254 788 0030. Run up, Beatmekah. Run it up.
Run it up. Didn't Chris Brown do a song called Run It Up?
Well, now we're doing the subtitles of Run It Up. Run it up. Run up. Beatmekah.
Light it up.
Light it up. Make sure it's trending. Our guys here in the studio are doing a good job of making sure it's out there. I need you guys to do more here in studio. Please put it out. Put it in your comments.
Let's give out a shout out to our producer, Lil Bosco, doing his thing.
Always.
All the cameramen who are here doing their thing.
Yes, big shout out to customers as well.
Yeah.
So, guys, run up the music. Support all Kenyan music we play here. Make sure you just go check them out, stream them, buy them if you can. And of course, also shout out to your favorite artists because they're doing the Lord's work. Okay? Catch you guys again next week. But always, as we say here, hip hop ni kati ya love. Usisahau.
Sure.